We'll be making a pumpkin pie today. So I'm going to start by cutting my pumpkin straight down. And I want to remove the insides. So I have a bowl here. I'm just going to scoop those in there and pop them into the bowl. Set these aside. I find a little knife like this works beautifully. So just cut it up evenly so that it roasts evenly and pop it in your pan. So you want to cut that stem out. Just like that. You can cut them up into smaller pieces. I had to add a second pan to that because it was a little crowded. I didn't want it overcrowded. And I'm going to bake that at 350 until it's fully roasted and tender. I'm going to make my pie crust. So what I have here is about 1 1/4 cups of flour, 8 tablespoons of butter, a teaspoon of salt, and some ice water. I'm just going to work the butter with the flour until I have a nice coarse mixture. You want to break up that butter. You want to make sure your butter is very cold. I'm going to add my salt to that. I want to slowly start adding my ice water. I'm going to take a piece of plastic wrap, lay it onto my board. This avoids making a mess. I've been doing this lately and I find your pie crust still comes out amazing and you have a lot less to clean up. Especially when you're doing a lot of cooking around this time of year, every little bit of cleanup saved is well worth it. So we're going to take our mixture and pop it in here. Once we have it on there, we want to bring it all together. So just bring it together like that. Like that. Once it's all together, you want to wrap it and place it in the fridge for about an hour. My pumpkin has roasted, it's out of the oven. It's nice and soft, and we're just gonna let that steam come off. You can tell it's ready when you can pierce it with a fork. We're just gonna let that steam come off. We're gonna let it sit for a while, and then we'll be back to puree it. I've also roasted my pumpkin seeds. While my pumpkin was roasting, I popped them in another pan alongside the pumpkin and let them roast. They're a wonderful snack, they're a healthy snack, and they're always worth the extra minute or so it takes to rinse them off and pop them in the pan and roast them as well. My pumpkin is cooled and I can scrape out the pulp now. So I'm just going to do that into a bowl here, just using a spoon. That's all you want to do. Scrape it out and discard the peel. It doesn't take long at all. I want to puree it now, so I'm going to use my immersion blender. Time to roll out my pie crust. This is nice and chilled. crimp the edges a bit, pierce the bottom and the sides, pierce them lightly with a fork. And I'm going to add some beans. You can use beans, rice, whatever you like to weigh down your pie shell. And I'm going to bake that at 420 until it's a light golden brown. My crust is done. I've set it on a wire rack to cool, and I'm going to start on my filling. For my filling, 2 eggs, 1 cup of white sugar, half a cup of light brown sugar, and 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar. I want to whisk these together until they're light and fluffy. I also want to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. What I have here is pumpkin pie spice. I make my own. It's just ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice, and cloves. You can use store-bought if you like. I find when you make your own, you can get a really nice blend of the exact flavors you like. Whisk that in. At this point, I want to add some mascarpone cheese. This is about half a cup of mascarpone cheese. This is really going to make the pie amazing. So get that in there. Mascarpone is super creamy. It dissolves easily into the mixture, and it really brings out the pie. It really makes the pie very creamy and really enjoyable. And I want to bring in my pumpkin puree. So I'm going to add about half of this because this was a lot of pumpkin for this pie. It's obviously way more than 1 can of pumpkin pie filling would be if you bought it. So we're going to add the equivalent, about half of this mixture. We're just going to mix that in there. It's ready, so we're going to get it into our pie shell. We're going to pop that into the oven and bake at 325 for just under an hour. My pie is ready. It looks fantastic. It smells absolutely amazing. I'm just going to let it cool, pop it in the fridge for a couple of hours, come back, decorate it, and have a taste test. I'm just going to whip up some heavy cream to top it off with. Half a cup. It whips up quickly. Already starting to thicken up a little bit, so I want to add a dash of vanilla extract. So just a few drops, really. Whisk that in. I'll also be adding some powdered sugar just to sweeten it up just a touch. About 1/8 cup. A hint of cinnamon, just a touch. And that is ready. I want to get my pie out of the pie tin to serve it. I'm going to put it on one of these. This is just a round of wax paper. And I'm going to run a knife around the edges of my pie and see if I can scoot it out of here. Now for my favorite part, the taste test. Oh, that is amazing. You get a nice, flaky, crispy crust like this. No soggy crusts. Blind baking really does the trick. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. I hope you give it a try. Please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more recipes like this.